We didn't do too much yesterday. We started laying the flooring and then kind of hit a couple hiccups, and we realized we had to go pick some stuff up today. Yesterday was Sunday, today's Monday, so we had to wait till today to pick some stuff up from the lumberyard. But we started laying the flooring. I think it's going to go quite nicely, and I'll just kind of show you the problem we ran into and kind of how we started. To start laying the flooring, we had to pick a line down the center of the RV. It's not exactly center, we just picked a line to go with. And so we picked the line that is square with this cabinet right here. And so we kind of just measured how far that cabinet is from this wall behind me. And then we kind of measured from that distance from the wall to this line, made a couple dots. And then we took one of those, I forget what they're called, the chalking lines. You know, we just made a chalk line that goes from the front all the way to the back. This line passes all the way down back to the bedroom. And so that's our center line. So we have that to kind of go off of to make sure everything's kind of square when we're laying the flooring. We did that because we didn't want to just start laying off of the wall, because you kind of want to make sure that you have some planks that run from the front to the back, kind of without being interrupted as much as possible. And so you kind of want to try and find a line that'll make that happen, so you're not having to cut to pieces. You're trying to limit the amount of times you have to cut pieces and end up with thin strips of, you know, flooring left or whatever. So that's why we didn't just go straight off of the wall. That's why we decided to make a line in the center, and we're going to start in the center. To help with that, we took just a small board and just screwed it into the floor, so that way we kind of have I guess a makeshift wall to kind of butt the floor up against. So that'll be our initial line for when we lay on that side of the RV. Once that side of the RV is laid, then we'll remove this board off of the floor, this one that runs all along our line, all the way to the back. We'll remove that, and then we'll do the other side. But this is just to make sure that we keep everything nice and square, and we'll butt up the planks right up against this. The problem that we ran into is that the subfloor for the cab area, which is on this side, is lower than the house, which is on this side. Maybe by like a 1/4 inch. And so we don't want to just lay the flooring over the seam, because when you step on it, it'll bend. And over time, you know, we don't want that to start cracking. And I think we would really regret if we just left it. So to fix this issue, we bought some Luan. So Luan is just kind of like this thin board. And we are going to use this to try and elevate that subfloor that's a little bit lower. And, you know, this will hopefully kind of fill in that gap, so the flooring, once we lay it, is not making as dramatic of a dip, and it won't bend as much. We thought about using, like, sanding it or trying to make a ramp using like epoxy or something, but I think this is going to be the best solution. But it will be a little bit challenging, but I think it'll work. So in order to do this, I'm going to use some cardboard to make a stencil around the doghouse, which is here, and the front seats and stuff like that. And I'll use that as a stencil to cut out the Luan, and then we'll just kind of slide it in there. The most important thing is just getting that cut out and that stenciled. But once we have that done, then we can start laying flooring. So I got the stencil made. It's right here. I made it out of cardboard. It was pretty easy, just kind of time consuming to cut all that out. And all the measuring and stuff involved. But I laid it out on the Luan. I traced the stencil. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it out with this saw. I don't have a lot of experience with power tools, so this should be interesting. It's not exactly a straight cut, but I think it'll get the job done. Before I go any further, I'm going to see how this works. Alright, I guess that kind of lessened the drop a little bit. We knew it wasn't going to be flush, but it's a lot better than it was. So now the board won't flex near as much. that like a glove. I'm not sure if I should glue down the Luan or not, or staple it or something. I don't think it needs to be glued or anything, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm just gonna start laying some flooring down, and you know, I can always glue it as long as I don't get too far into laying the flooring. So we decided to use this Shaw Resilient Versalock flooring. It's pretty thin, it's pretty flexible, and it's a floating floor, and they click and lock into each other when you're laying it. So we've heard some good things about this stuff, so we're going to give it a shot. Alright, let's see if it works. Using the base of this cabinet as our center line for laying the flooring ended up working very well, and then also screwing this board into the floor to kind of be a makeshift wall, so we have something to, you know, keep us straight and keep us square throughout, you know, from front to back. That ended up working out really nice because, you know, we were where we ended up in the front under the steering wheel and behind the pedals up against that wall was square with, you know, all the way back in the bedroom. We had the same amount of space. The boards are very straight, and so I'm really happy that you know, that worked out. I wasn't too sure if the walls even of the RV would be too square, but so far they have been. So having this board and kind of this makeshift wall was very helpful. Next, I'm going to go ahead and lay the flooring for the slide. That should go, I think that should be pretty easy. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I think, you know, the living room area will look really nice.
We got quite a lot accomplished. Garrett is making great progress on the floor, and he's hoping to finish it up tonight, if not early tomorrow morning. And now I am putting up all of the doors. I've got all the drawers put in with their handles on and everything. So now I've just got to do all the doors, and I put all the hinges on except put them all on backwards. So I have to go around and fix that, but no big deal. I will just do them one by one and get them back on the wall where they're supposed to go with the right hinge, and it'll be fine. But yeah, we're making great progress. We're really excited to see the floor completely done, and then the next step will be trimming it out. The floor is done. Garrett is so relieved to have all the floor put in, and it looks amazing. Super happy with how it turned out. But now we've got to trim all of it out. So he's working on the trim for the dinette slide right now, and I think we've got a pretty good plan. We're loving how everything turned out. We've got all the drawers and the doors put back on. It looks great, starting to come together.